welcome to Copyright Law. My name is AJ Stanek and I will be your presenter today. Fair use. What exactly is fair use? Fair use is a policy in U.S. copyright law that allows limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights of the authors. An example of this would be used for scholarship or review. Fair use provides for the legal, non-licensed citation of copyrighted material in another author's work for under a four-factor balancing test. Number 1, the purpose and character of the use. Number 2, the nature of a copyrighted work. 3, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And finally, the effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. So what exactly will this be used for? Fair use is based on free speech rights provided by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Time shifting. What is time shifting? Time shifting is the practice of recording a television show onto videotape with a VCR for the purpose of playing the tape back later at a convenient time for the viewer. By law, a person is not permitted to make an unauthorized copy of a copyrighted work like a television show. An exception would fall under the guidelines of fair use, which, from what we learned before, allows copying using copyrighted material for certain non-profit or, of course, educational purposes. In recent years, the creation of the digital video recorder, as we know as the DVR, has made time shifting very easy by using a program guide and recording shows onto a hard disk. Space shifting. What is space shifting? Space shifting is the act of copying digital content for use onto a device other than the one for which it was originally intended for. An example of this would be copying music from a CD to an MP3 player, or copying an MP3 player file to a CD. That would also be an example. Space shifting has been argued in copyright law to permit owners of their media to convert it from one format to another. Copyright protection and use. Who can claim copyright? Well, that's a great question. Only the author or those obtaining their rights through the author can actually rightfully claim copyright or work created in a fixed form. The authors of a joint work are co-owners of the work unless there is an agreement made ahead of time. What works are protected? Another great question. Copyright protects original works of authors that are tangible. So copyrightable works would be literary works, musical works, mimes and choreographic works, pictorial, graphic, and sculptural works, motion and other audiovisuals, sound recordings, and architectural work. Copyright length. How long does copyright last? Well, that depends on when created it. Works from 1909 to 1921's initial copyright length was 28 years from the date of publication, unless it was renewed during the 28th year, and then the copyright was extended 28 more years. Works that were published from 1922 to 1963's initial copyright length was 28 years from the date of publication, unless it was renewed during the 28th year as well, and then the copyright was extended for 67 years. Works published from 1964 to 1978's initial copyright length was 28 years from the date of publication, with an automatic renewal of an additional 67 years. Works created on or after January 1st, 1978 is protected for the life of the author or authors plus another 70 years. Works made for hire and anonymous works are protected for 95 years from the first publication or 120 years from the date of its creation, whichever is less. Copyright violation. The penalties for violating the Copyright Act can be very severe. You may have to pay the copyright owner for any losses it suffers, plus any profits you may have gained from the copying. The owner may choose statutory damages of up to $100,000 for each work infringed upon. Unauthorized duplication of software is considered a federal crime, and penalties may include fines up to $250,000 and/or jail time of 6. Violators are also to expect. What is for digital copyright? A U.S. law that does allow distribution of technology whose primary purpose is to avoid measure taken to protect copyright. DMCA was enacted in late 1998 It provides penalties for developing hardware or software that overrides copy protection schemes for digital media. The DMCA is considered to be very controversial. DRM. DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. DRM is a system for protecting the copyrights of data distributed on the Internet or other digital media. A DRM system protects academic property by either encrypting the data so that it can be only accessed by authorized users or making the content with a digital watermark so the content cannot be freely copied or distributed. DRM has centered around copyrighted music. DRM enables the artist who creates the music to collect money for a user downloading the song. If a user pays $1 for downloading a song, a part of that dollar goes to the music company and some percentage of that goes to the artist. EULA. EULA stands for End User License Agreement. EULA is the type of license used for most software. It is a legal contract between the manufacturer and the author and the end user of an application. The EULA details how the software can and cannot be used. It outlines any restrictions that the manufacturer enforces. An example may be that the software is not allowed to be shared with anyone else. Not every EULA is the same. Different rules and restrictions apply. However, all EULAs protect both parties from liability if the software is used in a way not originally intended by the manufacturer or the author. Those are just a few brief topics of copyright. These are the resources used to gather that information. Fair use and DRM. Time shifting, space shifting, copyright protection, length of copyright, copyright violation, DMCA, and EULA. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and hopefully you've learned a little more about copyright. Thanks, see you soon.